It's story time. I'm so glad you decided to watch. Today's book is awesome. It has beautiful pictures. Look for birds and butterflies and ferns. It's called Mossy by Jan Brett. Graham Cracker's here, of course, to hear the story. He's going to be right there. See? Right next to me. Mossy. On a misty, moisty morning, a young turtle stood at the edge of a lily pad pond. Her name was Mossy. Mossy liked this damp, cool place. She spent so much time there that curlicues of moss began to grow on her body until her shell was covered with them. As the spring days got warmer, tiny ferns unfurled and wildflowers began to blossom. Soon Mossy's shell was home to an amazing garden. Mossy liked to look at her reflection in the lily pad pond and see what was growing in her garden. Every day brought a surprise, a new flower or perhaps a delicious wild strawberry. Mossy's garden was growing wider and taller. One day, Mossy was standing by the lily pad pond when the water rippled and two ruby red eyes looked up at her. It was a handsome turtle she had never seen before. Scoot had never seen a lady turtle like Mossy. He thought her garden was pretty, but it was Mossy who made his heart beat fast. She was breathtaking. Make sure Graham Cracker can see. Scoot scrambled up the bank and walked towards Mossy. Entranced by those ruby eyes, Mossy made her way into the open glade towards Scoot. Just then, Dr. Carolina, on her morning walk with her niece, Tori, spotted Mossy. Gently, Dr. Carolina picked her up. She is perfect for the museum. Never had Dr. Carolina's museum had a wonder as extraordinary as a garden-growing turtle. She and Tori made a home for Mossy in a viewing pavilion with plants, a reflecting pool, and everything they thought a turtle would need. But Mossy already had everything she needed back at the lily pad pond, and she longed to go home and find her new friend. And every day Scoot waited for Mossy, but Mossy didn't come back. All summer, visitors came to see Mossy and her famous garden. They watched her eat raspberries and mealyworms, mushrooms and lettuce, but Mossy didn't seem happy to Tori, and Dr. Carolina was too busy to notice. Mossy was lonely for Scoot. She had stopped looking at her garden in the reflecting pool because it just made her remember those ruby red eyes, shining like jewels, peering at her from the lily pad pond. Thoughts of Scoot only made her sad. Oh, a picture. Snow fell outside, but inside the museum, Mossy's garden kept growing, and people flocked to see her. Dr. Carolina was thrilled that Mossy had made her museum famous. One day, Tori and her class had come to see Mossy. The meteorites and geodes amazed the children. They loved the woodland diorama and the butterflies and the shells. Finally, Dr. Carolina said it was time to see a special exhibit. The children gathered around the viewing pavilion. At first, they didn't even see Mossy. Then she started to walk, and her magnificent garden was swaying back and forth. The little turtle captivated the children. Mossy is a special turtle, Dr. Carolina told them. Her garden grows and changes all year round, and she's never hungry or cold. She's safe living in the museum. Here with us, Mossy could live to be 100 years old. Tori frowned. She loved the museum. She had helped her aunt collect wonderful things on their walks. But Mossy was the first living creature that Dr. Carolina had taken to live in the museum. Is that why she looks so sad? Tori wondered. Do you think Mossy is happy here? She asked her aunt. Does she have any turtle friends? The children asked. No, but here we all have the opportunity to see her. Dr. Carolina paused. The children had given her an idea. On the first day of spring, a sign on the front of the museum read, "Closed, do not disturb." Two women arrived at the back of the museum. Dr. Carolina and Tori were there to meet them. Everyone wondered what this meant. One day passed, and then two, and then three. After a week, everyone was invited inside. Dr. Carolina introduced the two mystery women. Please meet Flora and Fauna, she said. The curtain was pulled aside, revealing a portrait of Mossy, larger than life, with her garden painted in glowing detail. Flora had painted all the plants. Fauna had painted Mossy. Together, the artists had captured a moment in time that would never fade. Everyone cheered and clapped. At dusk, Dr. Carolina gently put Mossy in a collection basket. "Come with me," she said to Tori, and off they went to take Mossy to Lily Pad Pond. Together they said goodbye to their garden-growing friend and put her in the glade next to the waterfall, exactly where Dr. Carolina had found her. And Mossy was home. The next morning, the warm spring sun woke up Scoot from his bed underneath the leaves. He opened his ruby eyes and saw Mossy. Their year apart vanished into the past. At the museum, the portrait of Mossy continued to amaze visitors. "What an extraordinary work of art and nature," they exclaimed. The world changed as the years went by and Tori grew up. But Mossy's portrait is there in Dr. Carolina's museum for all to see. Not knowing that not far away, on the misty, moisty edge of Lily Pad Pond, an old turtle still stands. Her name is Mossy. I noticed that maybe this is Tori, the little girl, grown up with her children. There's the last picture. I think it's Mossy and Scoot and their baby turtles. Isn't that wonderful? The author of this book's name is Jan, and her husband's name is Joe. They thought it would be wonderful to have their own turtle pond. So they built one with rocks for sunning and caves to hide in from predators, like raccoons, and water deep enough for hibernating during the winter. And Jan said it has taken some time, but turtles finally have found their way to our pond and moved in, joining the first resident there, a huge, noisy bullfrog. Maybe you can go outside and look for some critters and animals. You might not find a turtle, but I bet you can find something. Thanks for joining me for story time. I hope you'll come back again. And if you want to listen to this story again, you can, because there's so many pictures around the edges. It's fun to listen to it again and look at all the different pictures. Bye-bye.